Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for The Final Terror, which came out in 1983. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long. I, typically being a massive, lifelong slasher 80s fan, growing up in the 90s, having a mom who loves that kind of thing, who showed me a lot of this stuff, it surprises me a lot of the time when I find something new from the 80s, or slashers, or anything like that that I've never seen before, never even heard of, you know? I was on Shudder recently, at work, at break time, and I saw a movie that had been added called The Final Terror. I had never heard of this, I saw it was an 80s flick, immediately put it on my list, decided to watch it recently. I started it yesterday, and I gotta be honest with you, I really got into it in the end of the movie. The biggest problem with this film is the first major portion of this film, probably the first 45 minutes, 50 minutes. There's not really a whole lot going on. It's kind of generic. It's kind of a generic movie. It's heavily harmed by that. The performances are all over the place. Some people are really good, some suck. Some, I'm convinced, are not British at all. I was hoping for a better movie than what I got, but I was surprised by what I got. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because I hope that I can explain it easily that way. Anyway, The Final Terror is actually directed by a man that you may know named Andrew Davis. If the name sounds familiar, let me read you off some of the things he apparently worked on here from IMDb. It kind of surprised the shit out of me. The Fugitive, yes, the Harrison Ford movie. Holes, yes, the Shia LaBeouf film. Under Siege, The Guardian, Collateral Damage. He's done a lot of stuff, man, that all of us know about. So I was a little surprised to find that out after watching this, but the film itself, to me, is not just a slasher film. It's kind of like a survivalist adventure type of thing. It has a little bit more brain to it. The problem is that the writing is not always that strong. What is the film about? Well, basically, you have a group of, like, forest rangers, basically. We start off in the film with a prologue about a woman and her boyfriend, or whatever he is, riding a motorcycle. They crash. He's hurt pretty bad. She goes to get help. She comes back. He's gone. And I'm still not sure if the plotting of the film is saying, hey, these rangers are going to go find this lady and guy. I cannot for the life of me figure out what the deal is, or if they're just getting a break. I think I missed something when I was watching this film. I don't know. I think the writing is just not that strong to begin with. That's my biggest issue with it. But they're in the woods is basically what we're dealing with here. And some of them have come out of the army, like one particular guy who's a total fucking nutcase in this movie. If you haven't seen the film, you're in for a treat with some of the things that guy says, some of the things the other co-workers and co-stars say to this guy. They essentially are trying to survive in the woods, but there happens to be some kind of killer out there who blends in with the environment. Not in like a predator way, more in like a ghillie suit way. This person basically wears a ghillie suit in every scene that you see them show up. And that's used creatively. I do like that portion of this film. Not creatively enough, but it's used well enough that I enjoyed that part of it, because I haven't really seen that in any 80s slashers, or any kind of slashers for that matter, excuse me. You don't see that done very often at all in movies, especially nowadays. I don't know why. It would be very smart. It could be a cool way to make something like this now. The Final Terror should have been remade. This is one of those films you could remake and make a way better version of it, in my opinion. But the cast of people, there's a lot of people in here. There's like 10 people out of the forest rangers and these random British women that I don't know why they're there. I still can't process what the hell the deal is with them, why they're even at this place with these people. But anyway, they're all there, and the guys are trying to hit on the girls, that kind of thing. Some of them are already dating. That's a thing, too. Your typical slasher stuff happens here. But things go pretty crazy and pretty wrong. I will say this, again, the first 45, 50 minutes of the film are your typical build-up. I don't really like that stuff. When we get to the latter parts of the film, the last 30 or so minutes, and we're focused on kind of a survivalist thing of this group of people trying to get out of this situation, trying to find the killer, even possibly trying to give in to their needs to just kill the killer, to get revenge for the people they've killed, it's pretty good at that point. But I can't tell you to just, like, skip to those last 30 minutes. You can if you want to. The gore's not something amazing in this film, but there are some pretty cool kills. Nothing amazing, but pretty okay. Some of this film in that last 30 minutes goes above average for me, especially in the final 10 minutes. I think the film actually grows a brain at that point and does some pretty cool stuff with those characters in the finale. There are some people that you want to see die. Of course, it's a slasher film. Why would you not have those kinds of characters in here? But the killer being somebody who uses like a ghillie suit type of thing, that was really creative. I really liked that. I liked that idea. And I like the kind of twists we go with that story. I think it's pretty neat. It was an interesting flick. It wasn't an amazing movie by any means. It had its interesting moments, but overall I think it's under average. I think it's a lower movie that I've reviewed on this channel because of the flaws. The flaws are definitely outweighing the positives on this one for me. But I do want to say this. It is competently shot for kind of a low-budget slasher from the 80s that no one's ever heard of. I love the poster for the film, as you saw in the thumbnail. I think it looks really good. There's a lot of bonuses for this film, like the actual woods themselves being used as a location. These forest rangers are not just the type that are getting lost constantly. That doesn't happen. They know what they're doing. And that's kind of fun and smart, but the film doesn't write them smart enough. That's my biggest issue. I like the idea of them setting traps back and forth. Like, they try to set traps, the killer's trying to set traps. That's pretty cool, too. There's a lot of good things in the film. It's just not incredibly written like it should have been. And to me, it's kind of unjust in that regard. I think it really deserved better overall, in my opinion. But anyway, when it comes to The Final Terror, which is a cool title, again, has a cool poster, has some really cool things in it. Some of the effects can be really good, even though they're kind of cheap looking. The movie itself, I like about on the same level, if not a little bit underneath something like The Prowler, which I was not a big fan of either. It is not a tourist trap. It's not a Halloween movie. It's not a Friday the 13th film, for that matter. To me, the original Friday the 13th, as slow as it is, has more going on than this movie does. But The Final Terror is not a complete loss. I do want to make that very clear. It has some really cool stuff in here. My personal favorite thing about the film, and you don't have to watch the movie to find out about this, to go listen to it, is the music. There is a theme song to this movie, and it's amazingly haunting. It is creepy as shit. There is something about it that watching this film, watching these people go around in the woods to try to find their way home, in the midst of somebody chasing them, they don't know where the fuck this person could be. The music they made for this movie is incredible. I don't know who designed it, who created it, who made it, played it, whatever. It's amazing. It's one of the most incredible theme songs to a horror film I have ever seen in my life. I don't even like to call it a theme song. It's like calling Halloween's theme song a theme song. But it feels cartoonish when you call it that, to me personally. But you can go on YouTube and type in The Final Terror music or The Final Terror movie song, theme song, whatever. You will see what I'm talking about. It is beautiful, man. Truly beautiful. Anyway, with all that being said, I don't really recommend the film. Not very good at all, even for us slasher fans out there. Not a super bloody film by any means, not that it has to be, but it's kind of a letdown in a lot of ways. But it has its moments. Very few, very far between, but it has a couple of good moments, with some mild, decent acting sometimes. My favorite being the one nut job who wants to kill the killer. And if you've seen the film, you know who I'm talking about. He's phenomenal. I love the guy. Anyway, if I had to rate the film on a 5-star basis, I'd probably give it like a 2 out of 5 stars. It's kind of a weak rating for a weak film. So, sorry guys. If you guys happen to see The Final Terror, if you even know what this movie is and you love it, I'm sorry. I don't agree with you. It's got its moments, but it's not as special as I think it should be. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below. Let me know what you think about it. Thank you for... Let me try that again. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. Have a good day, and goodbye.